To my week 2 predictions. Let's get right into it. My dad went 11-5 last week. He predicted a lot of upsets. Most of them he was right about. I also went 11-5. I didn't predict a lot of upsets, but I went with the safe bets, and that got me 11 wins. So both of us got 11 wins. We just did it differently, basically. And then Greg won 10 games. He was kind of like in the middle. My dad took most of the upsets. I took most of the safe games, and then Greg was just kind of in the middle. But unfortunately, Greg lost the most, even though it's only one game. So he's one game behind, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Then we have Thursday Night Football, which is a good one. The Commanders and the Packers. The Packers looked really good against the Lions. The Commanders, I think, underperformed against the Giants. So I am going to take the Packers at home by 3. I think it will be close. I can see Washington coming out with a win, but especially with the Packers being at home, I have to think they'd win. Greg also agrees with me. He'll also take the Packers by 3 with a little bit more scoring, which I can see that happening. Although the Packers defense is pretty good, but obviously we've seen last year that the Commanders can score a lot of points. So then we have my dad's prediction, which he's the only one who's going to take the Commanders here. So I can see it. If the Commanders were at home, I think that this would be a much safer option. But, it can definitely happen, so I don't hate this pick. Then we have the Cowboys and the Giants. I have the Cowboys by 10. Should get it done. The Giants look really bad. My dad is also taking the Cowboys by 11. No surprise. Greg is taking the Cowboys by 7. So all of us are taking the Cowboys. Saints, 49ers. I'm going to take the 49ers. The 49ers also kind of underperformed. They probably should have even lost to Seattle last week. I'm glad they didn't, but they probably should have lost that game. The Saints almost beat the Cardinals, which is not a good sign for the Cardinals. But I think that the 49ers should definitely win this game, and if they don't, they're in trouble. And here we go. Upset of the week. The Saints are winning. My dad is predicting the Saints to win. And I don't actually hate this prediction. I don't think that the Cardinals are better than the 49ers, but the 49ers looked not very good, and the Saints, I'd say they overperformed. They did better than a lot of people thought they would. I thought they would get destroyed by the Cardinals, but they hung in there, and at the end they had a chance to tie the game, so I wouldn't be shocked if the Saints win this game. Greg's also taking the 49ers. Then we have the Lions and the Bears. I took the Bears last week, obviously. That was not a good decision. I'm not going to make that again. Oh, also, sorry, I don't know why it says the Bears are 0-0. They're 0-1 right now. But yeah, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I am going to take the Lions. Oh, there we go. Now it's fixed. So Greg is also going to take the Lions by 7. The Lions also didn't look very good, but they were playing the Packers, so that's understandable. The Lions never really stood a chance. The Bears actually should have won that game. So that's my concern for the Bears. And then my dad is actually taking the Bears, which is pretty surprising, but hey, it worked for him last week, taking the upsets. He was the only one to pick the Colts, so maybe he knows something that we don't. All right, Rams Titans. I'll take the Rams 31-14. Should be a blowout. The Titans really sucked last week, even though they should have won. We didn't see much from the Rams, but that's because they didn't have to do much. They were just conservative and it worked. But if they want to score a lot of points, I'm sure they could. This week they're probably also going to play conservative because they don't have to, win in a shootout or anything like that. Because the Titans kind of sucked. Their defense didn't look bad though. And then my dad's also taking the Rams only by 3. And then Greg is also taking the Rams. So there we go. Then we have the Seahawks and the Steelers. I'll take the Steelers by 3. This is like a 50-50 matchup, but the Steelers are at home. The Steelers' defense didn't look great. The Seahawks looked okay. They probably should have won that game, but they didn't. The Steelers also probably should have lost last week. So we really, if some things went differently, we can really see the 1-0 Seahawks versus the 0-1 Steelers. But instead, we have this. So I think it will be close, but I'll take Steelers at home. My dad will take the Seahawks. Another upset that I don't hate. Like I just mentioned, the Seahawks probably should have won and the Steelers probably should have lost. So I can definitely see the Seahawks winning this game. Greg will also take the Steelers. Then we have the Bills and the Jets. I think it will be close. The Jets looked good last week. The Bills probably should have lost, but they won. So I can see the Jets winning this. I don't think it will happen, but I think it will be a pretty close game. I think a lot of scoring. The Bills' defense also isn't as good as it was. As you can tell, they let the Ravens score 40 points. So I think the Jets it will be somewhat easy for them to score. Greg will also take the Bills here, and my dad will also take the Bills. So there we go. Patriots, Dolphins. Oh man, I was really back and forth with this game. The Patriots should be favored in this game. The Dolphins were the worst team last week. It may be a little bit of bias, but I just can't see the Dolphins not winning this game. They play really good against the Patriots when they're at home. Even when they they won 4 games or something like that, they would always beat the Patriots at home. It's going to be hot. It's in Miami. The Dolphins, and I don't understand what's their problem. They have probably the best wide receiver duo in the league. Their defense shouldn't be as bad as it is. Like, they should definitely win this game. But I understand why the Patriots are favored. And Greg is going to take the Patriots, no surprise. And my dad will also take the Patriots. This one's really just like who's going to make more mistakes than the other team. I know that's pretty self-explanatory, but you know what I mean. It's going to be super low scoring. Jaguars, Bengals. I'll take Bengals by 4 at home. This will also be a close game. The Bengals sucked last week. The Jaguars looked good. So I can see the Jaguars winning. The Bengals are still in the preseason form, I guess. They are every year. It's just what they do. They have a slow start. So I wouldn't be surprised if they lost this game, but I'll take them by 4. Greg will also take the Bengals, and my dad will also take the Bengals. So there we go. Ravens, Browns. Ravens should have won last week. I think it will be close, only 7 points. Because the Browns actually look pretty good. I feel like they can. They also usually play pretty good against the Ravens. I still think the Ravens will win, though. Greg will also take the Ravens, and my dad will take the Ravens. Then we have the Broncos and the Colts. I have the Broncos by 3. This is a scary game. The Colts are at home. If there was any upset that I was confident about, it would be the Colts winning this game because the Broncos offense just sucks. It looked bad last week. The defense looked great, obviously, but the Colts offense actually looked good. So if we see the same thing that happened last week, then the Colts should win this game by 14 points. But I don't know. I took the Broncos by 3. Probably not the smartest decision. I probably should have taken the Colts here, but I'm just trusting the Broncos defense, and that's all that I'm doing. And then week 1, obviously, there's flukes. I'm just thinking that the Colts just had that weird week 1. I think the Broncos should be able to hold on, but it's not going to be a good game. My dad will also take the Broncos, and Greg will also take the Broncos, which is surprising that nobody took the Colts, because if I was a gambling man, I would definitely pick the Colts in this game. Panthers, Cardinals, I picked the Cardinals by 10. Yeah, I don't think that this should be a surprise. I thought they were going to destroy the Saints. The Cardinals underperformed. The Panthers looked even worse, though. So I think that this will also be closer than it should be, but the Cardinals will still win. My dad took the Panthers, another interesting upset. This could also be contender for upset of the week because the Panthers just really sucked that badly. But at the same time, the Cardinals underperformed. The Panthers, as long as Bryce Young plays good, he has a lot of young wide receivers. The defense won't be able to stop anything, but I can see the Panthers winning it. And then Greg will also take the Cardinals. Eagles, Chiefs, I'll take the Eagles by 3. An interesting game. I can definitely see the Chiefs winning, but considering what happened in the Super Bowl, the Eagles are the safe bet here. My dad will actually take the Chiefs, which it's at home. The Chiefs are at home, so I can understand this pick. You usually don't want to bet against the Chiefs if they're at home. I was also debating taking the Chiefs as well, but Greg will also take the Eagles. Then we have Sunday Night Football. The Vikings are 1-0. I don't know why it says 0-0. I swear I fixed it, but anyway. Yeah, I'll take the Vikings by 3. The Vikings looked really bad, and then they were able to come back and win it. So I'll have them winning it by the same score that they beat the Bears with. Um, yeah, the Falcons actually looked pretty good. I wasn't able to watch Sunday football because I was working, and I just kept looking at my fantasy, and I have Baker Mayfield and Bucky Irving, and Baker Mayfield was just scoring touchdowns. I was like, man, the Falcons are getting destroyed right now. But the Falcons actually should have won that game, which I did not see coming. I thought the Falcons were getting destroyed. So the Falcons could definitely win this game. That is what my dad will predict. My dad will take the Falcons by 4. Good pick. And Greg will also take the Falcons by 3. Also a pretty solid pick. I just trust the Vikings a little bit more, especially at home and on Sunday Night Football. Then we have Monday night, Buccaneers, Texans. Texans didn't look good. The offensive line looks like the worst in the league. The Buccaneers probably should have lost, but they pulled it out, and I think they'll do it again. It will be close. They'll only do it by 2, but they'll get it done. Greg will also take the Buccaneers by 3. My dad takes the Buccaneers by 7. Chargers, Raiders. This should be a pretty fun game. I'll only have 6. The Chargers winning by 6. The Chargers looked really good, and the Raiders looked kind of mediocre. But I'm going to trust the Chargers to get the job done, even though the Raiders are at home. The Chargers just looked like a better team. Okay, Greg will also take the Chargers by a lot more, and my dad will take the Chargers by 10. So those